living room. It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place. Hello, you far too kind. This a place where you could come to say what's on your mind. Come and spend some time, it's a family show. Place where we deal with reality, so real topics, what's poppin', no stopping, just make sure you watching. This is a show for entrepreneurs and for those who clockin'. Black people, brown people, ab people, this culture. We're supposed to support one another, let love take over in the living room.
Welcome to
It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place. It's the living room.
Well, good evening and welcome again to the living room where real conversations take place. Of course, I'm back. It's your boy, the Bishop. And again, we are right here. We have our live audience and we have you who are watching by way of Facebook. And if you're watching tonight by Facebook, this is what I want you to do. I want you to press that like button or that heart icon and give us something every time you hear something good that's in your ear there for us. Also, what we want you to do right now is we want you to tag a friend or, as a matter of fact, start a watch party. That'll be something amazing. If you can start a watch party, everybody that's coming on, logging on right now, let me say it one more time, start a watch party. We know how to start a party, am I right? We just want you to start a watch party right here, this virtual reality. Also, now throughout the show, we're going to be giving away gifts. So you want to stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. You need to go ahead and grab your red cup or whatever you're going to have, your little chicken dinner or whatever, and sit right there in your living room when we're going to sit in our living room. Black people spend annually $1.7 trillion, but only 3% have been filtered back into the black community. We have to start supporting one another. Let me say it again. We have to start supporting one another. This is a true fact. For you, some of you are just coming on, just plug it in because you just got the notification. Let me say it one more time. Black people have spent annually $1.7 trillion, trillion, not millions, not billions, but $1 trillion. And only 3% of that is filtered back into the black community. So we're going to have to start supporting one another. This show is all about black empowerment. We want to be able to support one another. Tonight, we will be discussing black women in business. Again, let me say that again to you. Black women in business is what's going to be our deep dive conversation tonight. And I have two wonderful guests. So now what we're going to do tonight is that before we get started, I want you to give it up for the living room band, the one and only Darren Brown and Brown Sound. Give it up.
All right.
Right.
Give it up one more time for the living room band.
Band, it is Brown, Darren Brown, and Brown Sound. At this particular time, I'd like to, before we get started with our conversation, our real conversation, right here, we like to thank all of our sponsors. We have Kingdom Care Incorporated, Kingdom Live Pro, Kingdom Celebration Center, and Kingdom Publishing, LLC. Of course, Brown Sound Productions and Tunnel Vision. Inbox us if you would love to be a sponsor of the living room. That's right. Just go to @the living room and inbox us. Now, I'm going to introduce my guests for this evening. I have two wonderful ladies who are going to come. First, we have the owner of Kingdom Care Incorporated, owner of Talking Business with Barbara. She's the author of the highly sought after book, No Regrets. And she has a new book called Trust Your Journey. It's a prayer journal. And she is the co-pastor of Kingdom Celebration Center. Won't you put your hands together with me here in this live audience and by way of live stream for the lovely, the gorgeous queen, Miss Barbara and Palmer.
All right. Welcome, Mrs. Palmer.
Thank you.
All right. So
now also accompanying Mrs. Palmer on this evening, we also have a dynamic singer. She's a PK. And for many of you who don't know what that is, that's a preacher's kid. All right. And she's a mother and a wife and an entrepreneur. And she's a community advocate, ensuring that resources are directed into our community. That's right, the black community and the underserved population. Give it up for our friend, the lovely Mrs. Shay Menendez Brooks.
we have Ms. Brooks here in the house with us. All right.
All right.
Well, as you notice, they are beautiful. Okay.
And so that just automatically makes me handsome. All right. Okay. Okay. So now we have a deep dive conversation where I like to get into some real stuff. And so I don't know if we're going to call this a little icebreaker or whatever, but you guys heard me say earlier in my little monologue about $1.7 trillion is what we spend. I mean, y'all look like y'all spent a good penny. I know if I called your husband, oh, that's right, I'm your husband. Look at that. All right, if I called Mr. Brooks, right, Mr. Jonas, I said, do she like to spend? We love to spend. All right, so and it's shown that $1.7 trillion we spend on an annual basis, but only 3% of that is filtered back into the black community. And we should be ashamed of ourselves as a community. But so there's been a lot of talk about police reform and other reforms, political reform, social justice, and so forth. But we need to start talking about economic reform. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we have you guys on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. But I love to see women in business, black women in business. I had some information about 3 or 4 months ago that I was somehow kin to Mrs. Breelove. And Mrs. Breelove is, of course, now known as Madam C.J. Walker. Okay, and she was the first black woman millionaire, okay, in our country. So I don't know how they line it up. I'm a Breelove somewhere down the line before all these marriages and got me to be a Palmer. You know what I mean? So, so we love to celebrate our own. So you both have businesses, okay, and you both. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later too. You both are in business together. So you both have separate businesses, and then you have a business that you're connected together in, which I think is great. And we've been knowing each other for we're not even going to tell everybody, y'all don't like to talk about age and all that stuff. So I ain't even going to tell you how long we know each other. Okay, so let me start with my lovely wife. Okay, now, the question I'm asking, so when I ask the question, is really for both of you. All right, so the first question that I want to ask you is, what made you go into business for yourself?
Oh, That's a good question. I went into business for myself for several reasons. One, I felt like that it was time for me to launch out on my own, to bring in some residual income. Some of the programs that I wanted to do in my community, I couldn't do where I was. Sometimes you can be stifled when you're working for somebody else. Sometimes your dreams and visions can't be fulfilled when you're fulfilling somebody else's vision. So I really launched out because I thought it was time. It was all a timing thing for me.
It was a timing thing for
Yes.
you. So you started out, you wanted some residual
Yes.
income. Ooh, I like that word, residual. Okay, so Mrs. Shea, what made you go ahead and launch out into the deep and say, you know what, I'm going to start this business for myself?
Well, the same, residual income, and I wanted to be in business for myself. Also because it was something that I wanted to do. I kind of started off with this one particular business, and I just did it just out of faith, just launched out in faith to do it. So definitely residual income. And also I come from a family of business owners. My grandfather owned a cleaners when I was younger. So my dad had his own business. My mom, of course, has her own business. So we come from a family of entrepreneurs.
Wow. And I remember your dad had the painting
Yeah.
business, right? He was like the best at it. Everybody was calling
But
him.
nobody knows, but he started off cutting grass in Florida. Wow. So he had his own lawn service business. He used to do cut grass and his painting, sunshine maintenance, and then he also had a cleaning service, which I used to work for too as well.
Okay, all right. So he was tutoring you along the way, huh, for entrepreneurship.
He was.
That is powerful. So both of you mentioned the word or the phrase residual income. What is residual income? Just for somebody who's watching tonight, who's aspiring, who's having a tough time on their job, or even lost their job due to the pandemic or whatever, and they're saying, you know what, maybe I can go into business for myself. So now you're talking about business and residual income, because some businesses don't have residual income. So what's this residual income thing? I want to know.
For me, residual income is money coming in the door whether I'm working or not. So if I'm working my 9 to 5, if that job goes away, I don't have any income coming in from that job. But if I have my own business and I've invested in that business and I've gotten other people to invest in the business as well, whether I'm sleeping or whether I'm awake, money's still going to come in the door for me.
So like passive income is what I think is what they call it, right? I like that. I felt something in my shana when you was talking about that residual. Like I can do something and still get paid. I like that kind of money.
Yeah.
Okay. And so let me go to, so as we're talking about this now, what is one key, since you guys are in business, how long have you been in business? Because you have multiple businesses. My wife has multiple businesses. So how long have you been in business for yourself?
For at least 15 years.
So 15
Yeah.
years. How about you, Shay?
I'll say probably 12, because I used to do hair too. I was a cosmetologist as well.
Right.
So about 12, 13 years.
I didn't know that. Okay, so about 12 or 13 years. And tell us a secret. Did you give Wade, show him the ropes when it came to how to do all this barbering and hair and all this stuff, or did he?
No, I had no parts in that. I had no parts in that.
All right. And I'm gonna have your brother come back on, because he's dynamic in what he does, and millions of people need to hear, and already hearing it. Millions more need to hear about what he's doing. So give us one key, since you're for 12 and 15 years and so forth, been in business. Give us one key, if you will, one takeaway for somebody who's aspiring to do business or that's doing business and may be struggling, but you've found a level of success in yours. And so what's one key or takeaway that you could give somebody and say, this is what I do or do best, or make sure I incorporate into my business life?
For me, it's keeping your word. Do what you say you're going to do. One of the reasons why people don't support black-owned businesses, when you ask them, the main reason is poor customer service. You know, we never keep our word. We say we're going to do something and we don't do it, or we lack the professionalism to do what we say we want to do, but we want people to support us. So for me, one of the keys that I focus on continually is making sure that I'm a woman of my word. If I have a product and I say I'm going to sell that product, make sure that I'm doing what I say I'm going to do. Do it on time, do it in integrity, make sure it's done well, and the people around me should be doing it as well as I am, because your product is who you are. Your business is who you are. So if somebody were to ask, what kind of business does Barbara have? You don't want people to say, oh, don't go to her because she's lazy. Oh, don't go to her because she's not going to keep her word. Oh, don't go to her because whatever she sells is going to break. You know, you want to make sure when people hear the name of your business that they're saying, oh, yeah, go to her. Oh, my God, I loved her product. She was on time. She smiled. You know, she didn't lie to me. So I think for me, it's making sure that my character and integrity are intact when I'm conducting business.
And before I get to Shay on this, because that's real good. So you don't want to put out cheap product.
Right.
You want to make sure that your product is good, but also you don't want the customer base to devalue your product.
Right.
And what I mean by that, and you know, us African Americans, we love to be like, you know what I mean, yo, you know, let me get that discount.
Right.
So in supporting one another, when we put a value on or a price on our product, we should honor that.
Right.
Instead of always wanting, you know, the McDonald's price or whatever on our. I love that. So again, we don't want anybody to devalue our product, but we also don't want to put out bad product.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
So tell us a key, Ms. Shay, that you feel for your business.
To actually believe in what you're selling and believe in what your product is. Because if you don't believe in your product and believe in what you're selling, then nobody's going to want to buy it from you. You know, even if it doesn't take off at making $1 million in the first 3 months, maybe the first year, you still have to keep going. You know, don't get discouraged because you're not getting the revenue in that you need. Because before you can go any further, you know, you have to, you know, go through some brick roads and some bumps in the road first before you get to where you're going. Because nobody ever comes out perfect all the way. You know, there's a grooming process, and you need to stick with that grooming process and still believe in yourself. Even when it's your last dime, you still have to believe in yourself. Believe in your product, believe in what you have, and that took a while for me to do as well. So you have to believe in what your product is and stand behind it.
That's real good. So believe in what you're selling, what you're putting out, what you're producing, and that it is an asset or it brings value to whoever is going to purchase it. I think that's real good. You hit on something kind of in the sense of, you know, we're going to go through some stuff. One of the things that I have found out through trial and error of establishing business ourselves and things of that nature is that most black-owned businesses start with none or little capital. And we already start off struggling. We got a dynamic vision. We have a dynamic vision. Oh, girl, did you hear do you know what the Lord done showed me? You know, I'm about to do this thing. And, you know, and then we have little money because, you know, perhaps we don't know how much it's going to cost us and so forth. And then we get out there and then we find ourselves struggling maybe after the second or third month, like, you know, because the customer base, that's what I want to talk about next. The customer base didn't come in. We thought it was going to come in from the people that we thought was going to support us. Can we talk about that? What about, where did your customer base come from? Were you shocked of people who you were expecting to support you that maybe they did, maybe they didn't? Did you have that kind of experience? Talk to me about the customers.
Well, we've been starting businesses since we've been married, and that's almost 27 years now. So we try something different.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry, 28? I'm sorry. 28 years.
I got to count every year.
Okay.
No, just mess with
28.
Right.
And we've always had different products to sell. I always think about, we had a soul food restaurant maybe 3 years ago, and we didn't start off wanting to make it a restaurant. It just morphed into a restaurant. And one of the things that I personally felt was that the community as a whole, the African American community as a whole, would support it. Because as we were going through the process of building it, everybody was saying, oh, we can't wait till your restaurant opens. We're going to be there. We're going to support you. So I automatically assumed that the black community would support us. And it was discouraging when they didn't. But I learned a valuable lesson from that sometimes the people who are going to support you are not your sphere of influence that are around you all the time. So I don't look for those people that are closest to me to support my business because they're not going to see it. But somebody from the outside can come in who knows nothing about me and appreciate the service and the product that I have to provide. And it shouldn't be that way, but that's our community. And it's kind of difficult to try to change people's mindset. Even if you have a good product, you can have the best product on the market, and your product can be just as good as Macy's product. Mm-hmm. But the African American community will go spend $100 at Macy's before they come spend $100 in your business.
Some perfume to smell just the same.
Yes,
spend $100,
yes.
You done discounted yours to $79.
Yeah.
They still go spend that $100.
So you can't get discouraged. You can't give up because the people that you think, that the people that said to you. I mean, when I started my childcare business, I started it because people in the church said they needed some place for their children to go that was Christ-centered. So the poll at the time was 100 parents were going to bring their kids to the childcare center from the church. When the child care center opened, I may have had 2 families from our church that brought their children. So I couldn't get discouraged. I just serve another client base, serve another customer. But I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm not going to get discouraged. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to get mad and roll my eyes and say, oh, they didn't support my business. I'm just going to serve those who want to take a part in my business. I'm not going to get upset about that. I had to learn that lesson because it bothered me at first.
All right. So, Shay, how did you build your customer base? Did it come from people that like you were expecting to support you, or it was just like you just had to find a different way?
I found a different way. I actually just started giving out stuff, to some people who I thought would promote it. Some people did that, and it also just came from me just wearing stuff. It's always about promoting. You definitely have to promote like I said, you have to believe in your products. So if you're going to wear, if it's something clothing, you have to wear it. Mm-hmm. So if your product, if I want to sell a dress, I can't be looking like, I don't know who done it and why, and thinking somebody's going to buy it from me. It's also about your presentation of things. Mm-hmm. So I gave stuff away. I did different venues, like vendor events, and I got business that way as well.
Okay, so then begin to grow. That's good because you look outside of your immediate, and you say, you know what, I'm going to wear this dress. You know what I mean? I'm going to do this thing. And by the way, your other brother, I said your first brother, the one to do the cutting the head, and but then your other brother, Chris,
yes,
is fantastic when it comes to the clothes, and I guess you guys are partnering together. I don't know what it, but I mean he does exceptional. You said no.
No, we don't partner
he ain't
together.
None of my money. No, it's like,
no. He makes clothes, but he has his own. So, and I'm glad you said that because he needs to hear that his clothes are extravagant. They are amazing, and I just want him to believe in himself even more because his clothing line could be something other than, anybody could ever expect. He can be in Macy's. He can be in Nordstrom's. He can be in Saks Fifth Avenue. But,
Yeah, right. And we need, and that's, again, about supporting. And matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have both of your brothers on at the same time.
Okay.
We're going to knock that out at the same time.
Yeah, have them both at the
You know what
same
we're going to have? We're going to talk about black hair,
okay,
and we're going to talk about black wardrobe or something. I mean,
okay,
and get that together. Listen, before we break, we got about 5 minutes before we break. You know, so the struggle is there. We know, you know, for most black-owned businesses, but you guys are able to. I'm hearing when I'm picking up in the spirit now. What I'm hearing is that you got to grind.
You do.
You got to grind.
You have to.
Through all of the pressure, through all of the disappointments, and the things that you may have expected but didn't come through, but you grind through those things, and then you find a niche, and God blesses you because of you say you started off by faith, because of your faith, and it's demonstrated even when you go under pressure and stuff like that. I'm amazed because I see results. And people, after a while, when people see results, then, you know, some people need to stand afar and look at you, you know what I mean? But after a while, when they see you still wearing them clothes, and when they still see them babies coming into your child care center, then they're going to be like, you know what, this is a legitimate. It happens to us like that. It's like they have to, we have to test each other to see if it's legitimate. Unfortunately, they don't have enough faith in us from the beginning.
Right.
But because of your grind and because of your persistence, because you know that God had gave you that dream to start that business. And when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about the business that you have together. And I thought it was so neat. I tried some product and everything that you guys had. That's why I'm looking the way I'm looking and everything. You know, I hope I ain't going to fail y'all on it. I hope I ain't failing y'all on everything. But we're going to come back. But before then, I got a gift that we want to give away. So you guys got gifts from your business that you're going to give away. And so I had mentioned earlier, this is for our viewing audience. So for our viewing audience, we want to know, for our viewing audience, we have a question for you. I mentioned earlier for my intro monologue, I mentioned somebody who I may be a little kin to or whatever, and she was the first black woman millionaire in our country. If you put right there in the chat, the first one to put that answer in the chat that's correct, you're going to get a free gift from one of these lovely entrepreneurs, these business-owned people. All right, so you're going to type it on in there in the chat. Okay, let me say it one more time to you. The question is, who is the first black woman millionaire in our country? And put that answer in the chat, and we're going to notify the winner, whoever wins that prize. All right, I got with me for our break a great dynamic musical performance that's going to be by Shay Brooks herself and Shay Brooks and Company. Give it up, y'all, as she comes.
Come on.
in the name of Jesus. Power in your name. There is power in the name of Jesus. So much power in your name. There's power. There is power in the name of Jesus. There's power. Power in your name. There's so much power. There is power in the name of Jesus. So much power. Power in your name. There's power, yeah. There is power in the name of Jesus. So much power. Power in your name. There's power in your name. There is power in the name of Jesus. So much power. Power in your name. Things change, things change. Things change when we call you Jesus. Things change, things change when we call your name. Things change, things change when we call you Jesus. Things change when we call your name. I'm free when I call you Jesus. I am free when I call your name. I'm free when I call you Jesus. I'm free when I call your name. I'm free when I call you Jesus. I'm free when I call your name. I'm free when I call you Jesus. I'm free when I call your name. 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 There's a shifting when I call. When I call your name. There's a shifting when I call. When I call your name. There's a shifting when I call. When I call your name. When I call your name. When I call your name. I am free when I call. When I call your name. I am free when I call. When I call your name. You are free when you call. When I call your name. When you call His name. When I call your name. There's a shifting when we call. When I call your name. There is a shifting when we call. When I call your name. There's a shifting when I call. When I call your name. When we call your name. When I call your name. Jesus, 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 Jesus. When we call your name, I call your name. Jesus, 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 Jesus. When I call your name, I'm set free when I call. When I call your name, you're set free when you call. When I call your name, you're set free when you call. When I call your name, when you call His name. When I call your name, Jesus, 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 when I call His name, when I call your name, I am safe when I call. When I call your name, I feel safe when I call. When I call your name, I feel safe when I call your name. When I call His name, when I call your name, everything has to change.
All right, we are back and we are live. That is Shay Brooks, who's sitting right here with us on the couch here in the living room. Shay Brooks and Company. Everything has to change when we call his name. That name is Yeshua. That name is Jesus. Deliverance has to take place when we call that name. Healing takes place when we call that name. Breakthrough takes place when we call. I don't want this to be church, but I hear somebody tell me that everything has to change when we call on that name. My goodness and my God, I almost shouted up in this house, and I'm right in my living room. Well, we shout in our living room anyway, you know, at home. Why not shout right here at the living room where real conversations take place? We are back. I won't even call that a break, all right? I'll call that a mini revival. We're back from our mini revival with Shay Brooks and Company. I have the business guru, my wonderful wife, she's here. We have Shay Menendez Brooks, she's here. And as a matter of fact, if you want to hear more of that sound, of that music, of that worship, visit Light of the World Family Ministries. Can you tell us, Shay, where the location of?
It is 9 3rd Avenue Southwest in Glen Burnie, Maryland. 9
3rd Avenue Southwest in Glen Burnie, Maryland. If you're watching here, if you're in Anne Arundel County or the outskirts, Be-More, where you see more, PG County, wherever you may be, come on out to visit Light of the World, get some more of that worship that we had. And also, we're here. I have my lovely wife. She's a dynamic speaker, preacher. She does it all. And you can visit us here at Kingdom Celebration Center, right here at 952 Annapolis Road, Gambrils, Maryland. All right, we're back. I got more for this conversation. We are talking about black women in business. Black women in business. Do you find it tougher as black women to be in business as opposed to white women, white men, or even black men? Do you feel like you have the hardest struggle as black women to be in business? Can we talk about that?
Yeah. I think also for some reason, instead of black women working together, it seems like we're always in competition with each other. And I don't think it should be a competition. I think if we work together more, we will win more. But everybody doesn't have that same outlook on everything. It's because it's almost like that mentality of, I don't want you to get ahead before I do. Or I don't want you to get a little bit before me, because we both had the same idea. And I don't want you to get paid more. I don't want nobody to support you more or something. That is definitely the mentality. I mean, truth be told, it's everybody is fighting one another instead of working together.
And this is a real, this is a real conversation. And it takes a lot for us to go ahead and say, we're going to go ahead and release this thing. You know what I mean? We fight one another, especially as we're talking here, black women are fighting each other in business. And you're struggling instead of supporting one another. And I think there's enough business to go around.
It's enough
when we support each other.
But then the crazy thing is, we don't have the same people that we deal with. We don't have the same network. We have different networks. So why is it so hard? Because I don't know half the people you know. You don't know half the people I know. And then it's not just in this area that we have connections. We have connections all over. Everybody does. So why not use those connections versus us not working together? It's so crazy to me.
Right. And that's good. Hey, listen, there's 7 billion people on the face of the earth. I mean, you can get at least 100 by yourself right now. But I mean, as far as the struggle as a black woman in business, do you think it's harder for a black woman to be in business, or what are some of the challenges you face?
Trust. Trust is the biggest.
Are y'all listening?
The biggest thing.
There it is. I see the red dot. The camera is on me. Trust. My wife say trust is one of the hardest things to get people to to see, to focus in on when it comes to black women in business. It's trust. My goodness.
So I know you're going to talk about the business Shay and I are in together. But the reason why I went into business with Shay is because I trust her. If she came to me and said, I have this product, you need to try it, Fred. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm all in. You know, I know she's not out to hurt me. I know she's not out to take anything from me. Anything that we do, we're going to do it together to help other people succeed.
And
So it's a
that's
trust
good.
thing.
And you guys have a great model of working together. And let me just give this little plug in. Even when we had the cafe, and we're actually going to be redoing the cafe when we get things situated here. But Shay, her family, mother, a lot of the world. I mean, her mom would come. I mean,
Every Friday.
faithfully.
Every
So
Friday.
Thursday or Friday.
Thursday or
one of the
Friday.
days we knew we was going to have to make a nice home
Fish,
meal or whatever.
fish, macaroni and cheese, collard greens.
Pastor Cheryl was coming in to get her some of that soul food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but I love it. I always, you know, that's an impression embedded on the heart when you see others supporting each other. And so that's something we'll never forget. And so when we restart, we already got a special meal. One of those platinum lifetime meals for your mom every week. You know what I mean? But that's a great thing about trusting one another, that you're not going to damage each other when it comes to business, because we're already behind. When I say we're talking about the black woman, black men as well, but black women in particular are already behind the 8 ball, if you will, when it comes to, you know, entrepreneurship and business, owning business and managing that business and letting it grow. You're fighting a tough end. And so to have somebody that you can really trust, to partner with, to develop business together, to encourage each other, I think it's a dynamic thing. And to hold each other accountable. That's a good thing there.
Oh, she's always holding me accountable, and she always.
And my wife does 101 things.
Oh, I know.
And then she's a wife. So that's like 201 things, you know what I mean? So, and then, so what I love about my wife is that she loves accountability. Because we know that, you know, when we're doing a lot of things, and God gifted her to be able to have a multiplicity of things going on, you know, and I can only, you know, do 2 things. But, you know, she's built that way, but still, yet she needs somebody to say, hey, girl, you know, don't forget to do this, or are you doing this? What's going on? You know, and everybody, I think, needs that. But to find somebody that you can trust, that's going to help you, encourage you, balance it off with accountability and things of that nature, I think it's something. So this is something that you guys do. So this is what I'm hearing. This is the reason why we got you plugged in together, because you have ventured out together on a business together. Okay, so let's talk about that business, because we want to, one of the reasons for the show is to promote black-owned businesses, okay? So we know you got Kingdom Care, where you can bring your child care center, where you can bring your children and bring your children into the child care center. We got set prices we're not going to go down from, okay? All right, so, and my wife has been doing an incredible job for about 9 years, and have one of the best, if I must say, one of the best child care centers in Anne Arundel County. Hands down, far none.
And it's nationally accredited.
Nationally accredited. Wow. Okay, so she did her homework. She did her thing, got it where it needs to be. And, you know, and so I sleep while she's working. No, I'm just playing with you. All right, so, but she's doing her thing. But together y'all have, started, you know, are into a business venture together. Somebody tell me what it's called, and then what kind of products you got, and so forth.
It is called TLC. It's
TLC.
Total Life Changes.
So it's not tender loving care.
You tender loving care and love your body.
Yes.
But you are tender loving and caring on your body.
Yes.
So, and what is it again?
Total Life Changes.
Total Life Changes.
Yes.
Okay, now talk about what is Total Life Changes?
So it's actually promoting a healthy way of living.
Yes.
You know, as an African American myself, I kind of got started on the product from Natalie Nicole Smith, which is my coach. She actually got me started on it. And she started off with this tea because I don't know how many people out there are doing it. I'm just going to be transparent. I have an issue with using the restroom. So, and a lot of us do, because we have as African American, as people as a whole, we carry a lot of toxins in our bodies. And then that promotes sickness and stuff. I'm not saying this product is, I'm not I'm not a health doctor or anything like that. I just know what it's done for me. So I took everything possible, all over the counter, teas, all of that stuff I was taking. And she came to me one day and she was like, "Hey, Shay, I want you to just take this pack of tea." And I'm like, she was like, "You're going to have an experience." I was like, no, I'm not. You know, because people tell you that all the time. So, of course, like we were saying, you don't trust it because you've heard it before. Oh, this is going to work for you, that's going to work for you, and nothing works. So you just give up on everything for the most part, kind of, sort of. So she gave it to me, which we started off with, I got a lot of stuff over here. Started off with this, and she gave me a pack of tea. So this makes a whole gallon, and she said, "Well, I want you to use this, and I'm guaranteeing you that you're gonna." So, needless to say, it worked.
Okay.
It worked.
And what's the tea called?
It's the regular original ISO tea.
ISO tea. So
Yeah, ISO tea.
ISO tea. Okay.
So this actually, one pack makes a gallon. So it says lose 5 pounds in 5 days, and you do lose 5 pounds in 5 days.
So hold on. So lose 5 pounds
5 pounds
in 5 days.
in 5 days.
Drinking tea.
Drinking tea.
ISO tea.
ISO tea.
From
yes.
TLC.
TLC.
That was bars. Y'all didn't hear the bars. TLC with the ISO tea, you know. ISO. No, this is good because we didn't, and it's not just for women.
No, it's for men too. Men use it too.
Okay.
Everybody uses it.
So everybody uses
Everybody
the
can
ISO
use
tea.
it. ISO tea.
Okay.
I even give it to my 12-year-old son, so he uses it too.
Okay.
So-
Your 12-year-old son
My 12-year-old son.
uses ISO tea.
Yes, he does.
Okay. And let me give another plug in, because her 12-year-old, is the camera on me somewhere? I don't know which camera I'm looking at these days. Listen, her son has his own business at 12 years old. 12 years old, Miss Shay's son has his own. Can we tell what's the name of the business?
2 Aces Ice Chest.
2 Deuces. 2 Aces. And it's ice
Chest.
Ice chest. Okay, and so he came through over the summer, and I'm telling you, it was a hot summer too. And he came and pulled up in the ice chest, and I'm telling you, I think it was called Superman or something. Man, I had about 3 or 4 of them that day. But I mean, he's doing an incredible job, and your husband is supporting him and traveling with him. And doing some things, whatever. So I'm just thankful. I mean, just to know that a family is just entrepreneurs just out there. I can just see you guys. That status called millionaires already over all the whole family. So listen, she said, "I receive." Oh,
Receive, yes.
that's church stuff right there. That's what non-church folks that may be watching.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. So listen. So let's go back to I can take you left field in a minute. So we're going to go back to ISO. So we got the ISO tea, and then there's other products that TLC has, right?
So I started off with this, which is the ISO tea, and the NutriBurst. Let's talk about this NutriBurst. So the NutriBurst actually has all of your vitamins and minerals. And if you don't know, when you take pills don't absorb. You don't absorb the full value of your vitamins that you take in. So you get maybe 30, maybe 70% of those pills. So the rest of them, they don't dissolve. So I had one of my customers tell me, she was like, "You're right, because I took a vitamin and sat it in a cup of water and let it sit there for a couple of days, and it did not dissolve." So if we're taking those and digesting those pills, taking them in, and they're not dissolving, we're not getting the full value of them. So I do know that when you take liquid vitamins in liquid form, it goes directly to your bloodstream. So I started taking this, taking the NutriBurst. This is what it's called, NutriBurst. And before I started taking it, and before I got introduced to the products myself, I kept passing out. I didn't know why I was passing out, and it was because I wasn't absorbing enough iron. So I went to the doctor, got checked out. They were like, "Oh, you operating off of 7% of iron," which could have killed me for real.
Right.
So I had to, of course, get infusions and stuff like that, because I wasn't putting anybody else's blood in my system. So I wasn't going to get any transfusions or anything like that. So I started taking a NutriBurst, and I told my doctor, because I did, and what I do, I'm not going to promote this without telling you to go check with your doctor first, because that's what I did. I went to my doctor. He said, it's okay, nothing in here is harmful to you. You can go ahead and take those pills, take the products. So I did that, started taking this for a good 3 months, and he said my levels went up. And I didn't have to worry, they weren't going down. So that was it. So NutriBurst.
Yes.
And then,
It works.
I'm sorry, and NRG.
Yes.
The NRG pill.
Yes.
So this NRG pill is pretty much like, I don't know, it's a silhouette in the bottle. So pretty much it gives you a lot of energy. It does give you a lot of energy. There's no caffeine in it. It's all natural products in this.
Right. So I think that's what my wife be
I give that to him.
Oh, okay.
Because she said I needed some energy because I'd be tired all the time.
Yes.
I said,
Yeah.
look, I'm a black man over 50. Right. So anyway, but the energy definitely works.
It does.
And
My
you-
wife has given me, and I
You
tell
also
her,
take the vitamins, the
and
NutriBurst.
the
Take the
NutriBurst,
NutriBurst,
yeah, we both take, take the NutriBurst together, and then the NRG, and I'm telling you, it works. I'm just giving you my own testimony because I'm like, oh, get what y'all into now, kind of thing. But then
Right.
when she actually introduced me to the product, I'm like, this is all right. So monthly, we re-up on the energy,
Yep.
and
I even have my staff. I've encouraged my staff to.
and her whole staff
Yes,
is running
takes
around.
NutriBurst, NRG, especially now, during this pandemic,
Oh,
during the coronavirus, doctors are really telling you to make sure you take your vitamins, make sure your immune system is boosted. So I always encourage my staff, buy some NutriBurst. It's going to help your immune system. It has everything in it that you need, so your immune system can be built up.
Right.
And I give it to my son too. Children take this.
And the children can take
Children
it.
can take
So
this.
it's,
Yes.
it's harmless.
It's harmless.
So, and I hope maybe they can zoom in on the NutriBurst and the NRG so they can see. And if you want any of these products, we want to make sure that you inbox the living room. We can get you in contact with both my wife and Shay, and they can make sure that you can get the product, make it available to you. All right, and so I know you got more product as well. We're almost out of time.
Yeah, we do.
Man, I'm telling you, this hour goes by fast, doesn't it? We just, look, that was just 3. They probably got about 20 products or whatever they had. So, but we're almost out of time. But I wanted to make sure that they understood you guys' partnership together, and you guys work in the community. You do it together. I know you advocate. You do incredible things with the community with remote learning for kids that's in the underserved community. You in the office that you're working with, Shay, making sure that resources are allocated to the underserved community. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to be your friend, to be your hubby, and to be here on the living room where real conversations take place. And I'm so glad that you have tuned in for this segment, this whole hour. And we're almost concluded. We're not done, but we're almost there. And so what we can do is we have a gift. And so we had the first question, and so we have a gift. So my wife she's going to give away.
I'm giving away NRG.
So she's going to give some of that good energy. You know what I mean? That energy. You're going to have to go get some of that energy. Let me see. And then we're going to come back. Oh, and so, but we got so I got another question. I got to give you another question. And so, my wife, I don't know if you have heard, but we're saying the name of her child care center. If you can tell us, the first person that can tell us the name of her child care center, okay, starts with a K, all right, and the second word starts with a K as well. So go ahead, put it in the chat. When you get it, the first person that gets it, we're going to notify you and let you know that you are the winner. This first one is for the first gift of NRG, and I think Miss Shay has also a gift for the second winner.
A month's supply of ISOT.
So she's got a month's supply of the ISOT, and that's going to help you lose some pounds, all right? You're going to be able to go, and at least if you can't go to Aruba, you're going to think about it because you're going to be losing all that weight. Listen, I think we are ready for another song, a dynamic musical performance by none other than our good friend Shay Menendez Brooks, Shay and Company. Come on.
You keep alive,
company and say we just have a wonderful t-shirt gift for you coming on to our show, The Living Room. And it says, "Excuse me while I succeed." All right,
thank you.
it's got the living room on the back.
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate
Thank
you
you
guys.
so much.
You're so wonderful.
Thank you so much for
And
sharing.
we appreciate it. Tell Mr. Jonas we said what's up. And as we're leaving, now if you want one of these, you can just hold that up. If you want one of these t-shirts, this one with a little wrinkle tonight, says "Minding My Black-Owned Business." Matter of fact, my wife has a signature one on. Come on up here and model for us. My wife's about to model just momentarily. Okay. And so you see my wife has that gorgeous thing, and she was all over Facebook earlier today, and everybody was plugging in. Now we have it in black and white as well, "Minding My Black-Owned Business." All right, and it says "The Living Room" on the back, where real conversations take place. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to join us on next week, right here, same time, same place. Thank you so much for wonderful. Man, let's give it up for the company. They did an awesome job. Don't forget, again, next Tuesday, right here, same time, 7 p.m., we're going to have another special guest, musical performance and everything. Only live, only here, where real conversations take place, The Living Room. Bam, there it is. Holla at your boy. We out of here.
It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place. Dear listeners, viewers, supporters, fans, friends, or family of the show, we are honored to have you here to share your time, your thoughts, and experiences with us. This was created to be a safe but truthful space in which truth comes light, you know? In the living room.
Welcome to
It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place. It's the living room. It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place.
I love your music.